Welcome to Courage on the Rocks, a space where stories flow like a good glass of whiskey. We're two best friends pulling back the curtain on all the conversations that usually happen behind closed doors.
From grief and love to dating, friendship, motherhood, and all the chaos of life in your 30s. We're diving into it all with honesty, humor, and a splash of courage.
This podcast is about real stories, ours, yours, and the incredible people we'll meet along the way. Whether you're here for inspiration, a fresh perspective, or just to hear from someone who gets it, we're glad you're with us.
So grab your favorite drink, hit play, and join us as we navigate the highs, the lows, and everything in between, one episode at a time. Testing. Get my lumbar support in here.
I am not freaking out right now.
Here we go.
I know, I'm very nervous.
It's okay.
This is kind of crazy.
I mean, it's funny, when we were doing our bingo cards, not this at all.
Seriously, oh my God.
And then you call, you're like, let's do this.
That?
I'm like, okay.
January, where you literally planned out our whole year.
Yeah.
Podcast was not on that bingo card.
Remotely. Yeah, the whole being vulnerable, sharing with people publicly about this.
Publicly, yeah. I'll be vulnerable with you. Silently.
Yeah,
well, silently.
In the privacy of our conversations.
In the privacy of you and me. It's a whole game changer to do it differently.
Yeah.
But that's who we are, and welcome to Courage on the Rocks.
Hello.
I'm your co-host, Mariah, and I am an educator. I'm a mom to a 3-year-old who's very curious and wild, and we don't know what we're doing, but we're showing up and being an example that it's okay to try new things, and you're not going to be perfect, but we are going to keep practicing, and it's only going to get better and better.
Yeah.
So give us grace, and we hope you enjoy the ride.
Yeah. My name is Liana. I'm your other host. I am a teacher and a fur mama to Tywin, and I am excited to begin this journey, being vulnerable.
Yeah, my hands are sweaty.
It took us hours to get here.
But we're not even just that. It took us, if you're really looking at it, we've been on a journey.
Oh, yeah.
We're on a journey.
There's a decade in the making here.
Okay, it is a decade in the making, and we're going to cheers to that.
Yes.
So, well, first, let's take a drink because Mama needs it right now.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Mm.
Oh, man. I can't remember the last time I had that. So our drink of choice is the beautiful Johnnie Walker Blue Label. It is a blended Scotch whiskey, and this is a very special drink for Liana and I. This drink of choice is in honor of a really awesome guy named Jorge, and he was my husband, and he passed away suddenly in 2023 on a random Wednesday. And Johnnie Walker Blue Label was his favorite drink, and we had it every time we celebrated the big wins in our life, the new job, the proposal, the marriage, the kid, the house, everything. It was a symbol of the really beautiful life that we were making. But this drink was also a symbol of his death and honoring his death. And I remember being at his funeral, and we passed around shots of Johnnie Walker Blue Label to anyone over 18 who wanted a shot of whiskey at 10 in the morning. Yeah. But there were probably 50 people who wanted that shot to honor him, and
it was quite a few bottles.
That were donated. It was amazing. And this is a $200 bottle of whiskey, and it's a fine whiskey, just like my husband was very fine. And it was our way of honoring him when he passed. So we passed around the shots, and I think his brother gave a really quick speech, and I took one of the bottles just like this. It had a beautiful box. It had a mini Johnnie Walker Blue Label glass bottle inside, and it was for a single person. And I remember opening it. I haven't told anybody this, but I remember standing over his casket, and we were going to take a shot and celebrate him as we lowered it into the ground. And I remember opening the bottle, and I remember kissing it, and it was like this like way of like showing my love that like he could feel, you know.
Yeah.
And I opened the bottle, and I remember before I poured it over his casket, I took a drink from it. And after I did that, I was like a few days after, I was like, oh, maybe that was weird. But like in the moment, like it was my way of like sharing one last thing with him, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
and that was for him.
it was for him, and I knew I was never going to have anything like that again, you know?
Yeah.
And it was like one last thing between him and I that was us and intimate. And then I poured it over his casket. And there's a photo of that. And like it's one of my favorite photos, even though it's so like sad.
Mm-hmm.
But it means like so much in my heart, you know?
Yeah, I think like, and when I saw that photo, it was so symbolic in the sense like you're pouring this last drink that you guys have poured for many other chapters of your life. So like to see that final pour, it was just incredible. But I think also it's really interesting to see like that wasn't the final pour. Like this is evident.
No,
like
yeah.
we just made another pour, you know? Like
Yeah.
the beauty of how it's all coming together.
Right. Like
Yeah.
when you experience something like that, you think everything has ended, life has ended. Like,
Yeah.
how can you move forward? And like this alone is symbolism of it does move forward. And
Yeah.
you will be okay, you
Yeah.
know? And so we're using this drink as an honor, in a way of honoring him, but also us for getting to this point and starting this podcast, which is nuts.
Oh my God. Yeah. I can't believe we're here. You know, I think
Yeah.
when we talked about it and we envisioned it, like it just, this space was created and the idea like, what are we going to use this space for? Like I didn't even have furnitures and I knew what the bar was supposed to look like, but never in my wildest dream would I have expected, let's put 2 chairs here and have a conversation.
Yeah.
You know, because you and I have conversations everywhere. In the car, at rock climbing, you know, in random places. But like to now create this space,
Yeah.
like, and to have memories here, it's just, yeah, it's pretty incredible.
But like to open it out to the community and to build a community, you know, around Courage on the Rocks and talk about vulnerability. And, you know, Leon and I just entered into our 30s era. Woo, that was a scary birthday, not gonna lie.
31 for me as of a week ago.
Still 30, woo woo. But we entered that like in this really big transition period, because we met in our 20s.
Yeah.
You know, and we had all of our 20s together, and it was a very different life compared to the one that we're embarking on right now.
Absolutely. I think, you know, you and I had so many unknowns for certain things in life. And then now we're 30s. And like to build upon that, to grow from what we have learned and experienced and to get to share it with you guys. Yeah, I'm really excited about it.
I'm excited and I'm grateful. And I love the idea that you had, which was to like go off of a trend that's currently happening now.
Thank you, TikTok, for coming
TikTok,
back.
You're amazing. So yeah, coming back. So the trend is I met my younger self for coffee.
Yeah.
And it's a poem that we write to our younger selves. And we wrote to our 20-year-old versions of ourselves.
Yeah, we were trying to select what to do for this first episode. Like and we had an idea of what, and we laid it out. Now I saw this trend and I was like, no, like this is it. Everything that we're going to write and reflect upon is what's going to be what this podcast is about. Like this is a beautiful beginning of it. So we wrote it We each wrote it in our privacy, and at first we were just not like, we're just gonna share it raw and see where it goes from there. So this is my poem,
Yay, so
which it took a couple
excited.
of drafts, but
It's
okay.
hard.
It is.
It's hard and it's vulnerable, but
Yeah,
it's
and like to
beautiful.
see like how to quantify it all on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
For me. So,
Yeah.
all right, this is mine. I met my younger self for coffee. She walked in right on time. She carried herself like someone still learning, confident in dreams, but timid in the unknown. She ordered a mocha. I smiled, sipping on my espresso, thinking how much we'd learned to savor the boldness. She told me that she moved back home and started college again. I told her that was the best decision yet. She says she doesn't know what true friendship is. I told her, don't worry, they're not far behind. She says she doesn't know what finance is. I said, relax, you'll save enough for what's about to come next. She picked herself apart and told me she's not good enough. I gave her a hug and told her, yes, you are. You'll find beauty in who you are, to embrace your imperfections as strength, to know that you are enough in every step you take. She asked if we found a career, and I told her we became a teacher, one who changes lives by showing her students that they are capable of more than they have ever imagined. She leaned in and asked, are we loved? I told her yes, love finds us. I told her the waiting was worth it, that the empty spaces would one day be filled with laughter, music, and light. I told her that every heartbreak, every almost love was just another step towards him. I told her how she would visit places on her bucket list and all the mountains she would climb. That time would be both our teacher and our companion. The hardest days would soften and show us the way. That loss would teach us to treasure what remains, and that love, in its many forms, would come in waves. I told her there would be days of doubt, but also days of joy, of knowing that even in the silence, we were becoming exactly who we are. I told her, you'll fall, you'll rise, and the journey will be so much richer than you ever imagined. When she stood to leave, she said, I can't wait to see what we have done in our life 10 years from now. She walked away. I felt at peace, knowing she had everything she needed to become the woman sitting here today.
Oh my God. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so beautiful.
Yeah,
How did it feel reading that?
it was good. I think for me, it's a culmination of like we have already reiterated, everything that's been happening in our lives, and like in particular in my lives, what 10 years can do to a person, you
Wow,
know?
yeah.
Like when I turned 21, it was this whole world, I thinking that I had to go and fill it, and all these expectations, and like all the things that I haven't accomplished yet, and like moving back home, was that the right decision? And finance and learning how to save and love. That was like a huge part of my 20s.
Yeah.
Like not having it
It's a
and not,
massive
yeah,
part.
and like still trying to grasp it and find it and try to so hard find it. And then when love did arrive, it's been a beautiful, beautiful ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy how when you're in your 20s, like there's this structure of this is what I'm supposed to do.
Yes.
Right? I graduated high school. I'm supposed to go into college. I have 4 years for that. I might go to a grad program. I might start my job. But I'm supposed to meet with someone along the way. And I'm supposed to get married. And then we're supposed to get a house, right?
Yeah.
And then kids come along, right?
Yeah.
And it's all this structure of like, oh, it's all supposed to happen before you're 30,
Yeah.
right? But your journey was not like that. And I remember being the best friend and watching you go through that journey of wanting love, like not just someone to lay in bed with at night, not just someone to talk to, but you wanted love,
Yeah.
right?
Deep
And
connection.
deep connection, and I would always tell you, like, with all the faith and belief and knowing that God has someone for you, right? But like everything that I hear in your letter to yourself is trust the process, wait, like time is not against us, time is for us.
Yeah.
Be patient, put the effort in, and watch it grow.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's just, you know, in the moment when I was thinking back in my 20s, and seeing how everybody else was accomplished in what I thought was the success markers.
Yeah.
You know, like all my friends in high school who are now married and have kids or are successful in their own ways, and thinking, gosh, why don't I have that? Like we're the same age and we all turn 28 and I don't have that.
Yeah.
You know? It's
so
like,
therefore, what's wrong
what's
with
wrong
me?
with me? Exactly.
Right? Nothing is
Yeah.
wrong with you. You're one of the most beautiful people on this
Yeah.
planet, right? And it was just time.
It is.
Right? And your person was going through the same thing, actually.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
And when
he
the time was right, you guys connected. You found each other.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's right.
I love it.
Yep.
Does that mean it's my turn?
Let me get tissues.
Next. Let me take a drink of this real quick.
Yeah, take a shot for that one.
Okay, let me like calm my body. Whew. Okay. It was so hard to write this.
You know, okay, before you read it, also like a disclaimer is like I have watched you from your life and then your 10 years, and like what in my head of what I think you're going to put in here, it's going to be totally probably different than what you were going to read, but either way, like, yeah, I'm just really excited for you to share.
Yay! I will admit, like, for someone who just turned 30, I've been through a lot for that age.
Yeah. That's an understatement.
There's a severe understatement.
Yeah.
So this is not like a normal 30-year-old letter to herself, like meet down for coffee.
Yeah.
But it is my story and it's my life.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm gonna share it. Okay. I met my younger self for coffee. She arrived alone and 3 minutes late. I arrived on time with a roaring 3-year-old. My son ran into her arms. He was reminded of a familiar comfort. We hugged, and she wrapped me in her innocence. We said, "I've missed you," in synchrony, as if we planned it. She ordered a peach tranquility tea. I ordered a London fog with a foam cap. We found a couch, snuggled in, and my son sat on her lap. She reached for his long curly hair. "Wow, he looks just like him," she said. We locked eyes. Hers were full of hope, mine holding on to memories. "So you married him?" she asked. "Yeah, I married him," I said. "Was it everything you imagined it to be?" I said it was everything and so much more. "I knew he was my soulmate," she said. I listened as she told me all about her perfect love story. She lit up talking about their adventures and plans for the future. I reminisced. It was wholesome to be reminded of him. I could almost hear his voice. I could almost picture him again. No, I didn't tell her. She didn't need to know that all she would get was 10 years. I knew the grief was coming, but she deserved the magic of the unknown. There were no big secrets to share, no devastating losses or triumphant wins that she needed to know. We both finished our drinks. She squeezed my son and kissed him on the cheek. She paused. I could feel the anxiety building in her chest. "Does it all work out in the end? The job, marriage, motherhood?" she asked. I laughed because I knew. I was sitting in front of a girl who was a force to be reckoned with. A phoenix ready to rise from the ashes. I told her that there would be moments where her light would dim. Moments that felt like her world would end, but it wouldn't. Her career would be more brilliant than she could imagine. Her understanding of love would change with the seasons of her life. And the little face that she just kissed, well, he would be the reason why she never gave up. We hugged for what felt like a lifetime. She said, "You feel different. Braver, maybe? Like you stepped into your power. It suits you." I smiled and said, "It comes with age." We said goodbye, and I watched my favorite person walk away. I whispered to myself, "She will be okay."
Excuse us. Commercial break. Holy shit.
But yeah, it was definitely more emotional to read than I thought.
Wow.
I felt that one, talking about him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just so beautiful how the way you wrote, being so kind to yourself, you know.
Oh God.
I think if anyone would expect you to drop all of these bombs of things and like everything that's happened in the past 4 years, but how kind and grace you gave yourself, and to reflect on it, to give her the chance to love so deeply and enjoy the moments of it. That was just beautiful.
When writing it, like a lot of people are like, "Oh man, I wish I could go back and tell myself this," right?
Yeah.
And I think when you lose someone, like there's that saying, like you never know what you have until it's gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I wrote it like this is because I knew what I had. I was like fully aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so like the intentionality of like not telling her in this poem is because she would have done things differently and it wouldn't have helped, right? It would have taken away the experience that she was supposed to have, right?
Well, that she deserved.
That she deserved, right?
Yeah.
You can't live in fear of, I'm going to lose my person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every day, we don't know what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
So, but you can live fully and appreciative and grateful for it. So, yeah, I want to go back and tell myself, oh, watch out for all these things, or like even like go back for a brain scan, make him get a brain scan. The reality is it wasn't going to show anything, right? You can't go back, and I feel very thankful that like I don't live with those regrets.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm just thankful that I got that life, you know?
Yeah. We were talking about, like living your 20s, and your entire 20s was built on such a foundation of what love is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And what love is. When you embark on finding love again, you have such a strong foundation to look back on.
Yeah.
You have such a, like, what you deserve, what you earn, what to look out for.
Yeah.
And it's incredible what you were gifted.
Yeah.
The time that you were gifted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. When he passed, one of the things that I said and that I wrote, was that like we got to experience a type of love that not everyone gets to experience.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was cut short, but I got 10 years, and I will forever be grateful for that. And I know what that feels like, right? But it takes a lot of work to get to a point where you can accept love like that, right? Because I think we all accept love that we think we deserve, and sometimes we think we don't deserve things, right?
Yeah.
Which like is the process in your 20s is you're so worried about what other people are thinking of you, right?
Oh God, yeah.
Am I don't have what they have, so I'm not doing it right, or I'm not good enough. But our 30s are not like that.
No.
Yeah.
But I think that's what the beauty of what the 20s were meant to be. It's meant for us to grow in a way that just allows us to reflect in the 30s. We the trial and errors, being vulnerable to make those leaps and bounds and climbing those mountains, I think gave us the courage to it. And now, like in our 30s, we get to enjoy the view of it. We get to really take it in. We get to carve new paths for ourselves based on everything we've learned in our 20s. Yeah.
I completely agree. I feel like I'm so in tune now, and obviously a large part of that is because of everything that I went through losing Jorge, and then the intent on healing and being so intentional on that in so many different formats and ways.
Yeah.
But I feel like I know myself more now than I ever have, and I am more myself now than I ever have been. And I think there's a beauty in that. And I know that pain and
That strength.
the resilience, the grit that I wouldn't say you're forced to have it. You choose whether or not, what path you're going to take.
Yeah.
Right? You can let the world swallow you up in that pain.
Mm-hmm.
You can heal yourself and fight through it and become a better version.
Yeah.
That's the path that I took. And while it's a lot harder in the beginning, it's so much better in the long run, because life doesn't feel so heavy anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
I think in those few months after we had his funeral, it was just this uncertainty, of, and I was in all your family and friends around you. It was like, what is this going to be like now? Are we wallowing in pain and darkness for the rest of our lives? Because you and I both know when you lose someone like that changes the rest of your life, and you can live in that pain and that suffering, that darkness for decades and decades. But Jorge was never that person. In the years that I have known you guys, he was never that dark person. He was never that wallow it in. He was always so much fun and laughter and backyard dinners and running with the dogs and playing with kids
and banter and giving you
banter.
shit.
Yes. Yeah. That was another part of it. But he wouldn't have wanted that, and you understood that. You understood you need to be more. You need to become more for Leo and for you and for your next chapter, your story. Yeah. Well written.
So, and this is our story, and that's why we created this podcast. It was the inspiration behind this podcast. The journey that we've been through our 20s, through devastating loss, and then more loss after that, and then rebirthing ourselves, right? And so that's what this podcast is about. We went through the 20s. That was really hard, and we're going to share about the many lessons learned through heartbreak, through thrilling adventures, testing ourselves and our limits.
Yeah, and having the courage. To, be vulnerable.
Yes.
Having the courage to say, I don't want this to be my story. I want to do something else. I want to experience something else.
Realizing we had choice.
Yeah.
Right? There are things we can't control, and we certainly experienced that. But outside of that, we learned we had choice, and we can build our life however we want to build it.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing. And we are inviting you to join us along the way as we navigate new things. Parenthood, parenting a child through his own grief. Going through grief while dating.
Yeah.
Dating while being a widow on Hinge. There's a whole lot to talk about here.
Online dating. Yeah.
Anyways, that's a whole other podcast because that's very new.
Yeah.
But also, it takes vulnerability to have courage. And so many of us don't want to be vulnerable, and if we are, it's behind closed doors, maybe with one or two people, and that's okay because not everyone's a safe person.
Yeah.
But we are here because we want to show you that you can be vulnerable. We can create a space that is welcoming. You can try new things.
You can be scared.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's okay to show people that you're scared, and it's okay to show people all of the facets of emotions that we have. Because I think in the past few years we were inbred to think we needed to hide all of this. Show the world one thing on social media, show the pictures, but to our family, to our safe people, we show them our true self. But what do you learn from that? How do you grow from that?
Right. How do you become your true, authentic self? And I think that's where you feel like your real love for yourself. You know, you don't have to hide. We don't have to hide. You don't have to do it alone.
Yeah.
Right? And that's where this comes in, friendship. You know, and we have a special friendship. That sounded sexual. It's not like that.
No.
Oh dear God.
We like men.
Very much. I don't think there's so many women out there who don't have friendships like this.
Yeah.
And we are a good example of good female friendship and what that looks like. And we also want to share that.
Yeah. I think time is a big friend of ours as well, you know. Like you said, we did go through so many facets of our life. We went through the dating scenes. We went through being in your wedding. We went through the birth of your child, our graduation days, your master's program, like our careers. And, you know, we just walked the same path together, like watching each other's stories. Like that was just,
And then, right, as we're about to end this podcast, but segueing into our future episodes, you know, this whiskey takes 28 years for this whiskey to go into a Blue Label bottle. I lost my husband at 28 years. I was 28 years old, right? But the crazy piece is, as we talk about getting out of your 20s, going into your 30s, and the uncertainty there, I had everything that I could have imagined. Life was so perfect for me, and I knew and I appreciated it, right? Up until 28, and I had the love. I had everything that I wanted, and you were struggling with love, and that was such a hard point. And then right when my life flipped upside down and I lost my soul person, you found yours, and our lives literally flipped, you know, and we had to navigate that massive adjustment, and we're still navigating it. And that's a big part of what we're going to be talking about is you're now kind of in the point where I was experiencing, and I'm at a point kind of where you were experiencing, except we're adding in the widowhood and the kid.
But the whole, I agree. You know, we're allowing to share with each other our experiences. You know, it was at a different time period, but we're still growing with each other, and we're still being optimistic.
Oh, we are fucking optimistic.
About it all. Yes.
All of our dreams, everything, it's all coming our way. It's being manifested, and I believe it. But at the end of the day, we're here to tell our story. We're not asking permission, especially if you know us. We're not asking permission to tell our story in the way that we know it and have felt it in our bones. We are simply letting you have a seat in our arena. We're the ones on the floor where we are battling that bull, whatever it be, grief, motherhood, whether or not we want children or not, things like that. We're the ones doing that work, and I know you're doing that work in your own life. But when it comes to our story, we are offering a seat, but we're not asking permission, and there's a level of respect there. And the door is always open. If you want to come in and hear, awesome. If you feel like you need to step out and walk away temporarily or forever, that's okay too.
But the door is always there to open.
It's always there.
It's always come and watch.
Invitation. Because we're healing through this, and you have an opportunity to heal whatever wounds you have. But know that it's not always easy. There will be moments 100% on this podcast that are uncomfortable. And my encouragement is that I hope that you stay. I hope that you sit in it, because I sit in it every day, but that's how you heal, right? And what hurts really bad now, it slowly hurts a little bit less, and then it's not so unbearable to sit in it, you know?
If anything, it gives you an opportunity to just sit and reflect and look upon, like, how we are walking our path in life. And maybe if that gives you a little encouragement, a little motivation to change your relationships in your life, then I feel like our message is done, you know? Like we've done what we wanted to do, and we wanted to share this.
So, cheers to episode 1. And your reminder to move forward into your week with courage.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Cheers. Thanks for tuning into Courage on the Rocks.
Until next time, hold on to your courage and we'll see you soon. Cheers!